Well, what a day for economies right around the globe. Just as the Trump haters were blaming him for the lack of confidence and a market lull worldwide because of the trade standoff with China, what do you know? We have not just the first tranche of a trade deal, but an incredibly positive reaction in world stock markets, including Australia, which smashed the 7,000 mark today. All sorts of other big finance news breaking as well. Let's go straight to one of Australia's leading financial commentators, Peter Switzer from switzer.com.au. Happy New Year to you, Pete.
Well, I've got to say, as a stock market man, I love the 7,000, but that news about rain is miles better, mate, miles better.
You're right, but they work hand in hand, because any boost that we get out of what's happened from bushfires, and I mean with all the money being poured into communities, is going to be dependent on how much rain we get as well. If those two things were to happen together, we could have a very well stimulated economy in Australia, couldn't we?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. The economy has been soft, Chris. There's been a few good things. Clearly, the rebound in the housing sector, house prices, home lending was up today. And also, the pipeline of construction looks pretty good as well. But certainly, I bumped into Treasurer Josh Frydenberg recently, and I actually said to him, I know you've been trying to hang on to that budget surplus of yours, but the bushfires are going to change that. And he looked at me and said, they sure will. So the government clearly is going to spend. That will help the Aussie economy. And I think the fact that the economy is going to be better in the second half is another reason why the stock market's gone up today. OK, for retailers, this really is a bad start to 2020. Yeah, retail has been a really bad period until the most recent reading, Chris, and that was better than expected. I think the economy is close to a turning point. Without the bushfires, I think it would have been more clear to see. But the fact that you're going to have supportive governments right around the country, not just the federal government, but the state governments are going to have to spend, that will actually create a lot of jobs. And I think jobs are the most important things that move economies and move things like retail. It's
so ironic, Peter, because it's almost happened by accident. They're forced to do it because we've had a natural disaster, and they're forced to do something they wouldn't have done without that natural disaster.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they were hoping that the economy, because of the 3 interest rate cuts, would eventually start to show some signs of growth. But because of the bushfires, because of the damage and the repair work that has to happen, it will be a big stimulus to GDP going forward. But GDP is, to me, less important than the creation of jobs. Once you create jobs, that really builds the confidence of consumers, then business, and you've got this momentum, this positive snowball growing, which I think will show up in the second half of this year.
One quick one before we let you go, and this is for people who really care about what their money in the bank earns them, and interest rates being so low, not much at the moment, but what's NAB being so scabby for, lowering saving interest rates?
Yeah, look, the bottom line is, Chris, I think also the Reserve Bank will probably cut interest rates again in February. Part of the reason because of the bushfires, they'll want to increase stimulation. But you're right, the banks, they're going to keep cutting interest rates because they're going to be forced to cut home loan interest rates. And competition in the market is extraordinary at the moment, but it's great for borrowers, it's terrible for savers.
OK, have a great year, mate. Thank you, Peter.
Cheers, mate.
Peter Switzer from switzer.com.au.